I think it's been like 3 months. Get that out of the way. Welcome back to KTM 732 Big Ball Bike Build. Where have I been? Been a very busy little bee, actually. It's been a bit, how do I put it? There's been a lot of problem solving. I think the last thing you saw was me pulling apart the primary gear. You didn't really get to see it properly running, so in this video, are going to get to see it running. You're going to get to hear it, I must say. Get yourself some headphones because laptop speakers are through your phone. But that's not going to be right now. I've got to talk about another problem that I've got, which is really, really annoying. Easily solved, but really, really annoying. Do you know what? Let me just explain where I've been. Okay, right. In short, I don't know whether or not I want to show you this because it's so unbelievably boring. I think the technical term is I have been flashing my ECU. It's quite a process. I'm currently on, not including all the maps that I made last year, trying to accommodate the faulty throttle body. I think I'm on something like my 78th iteration of the flash. Now, sure, yeah, most people probably just say, just take it, put it on a dyno, and then just have them spend a day. Now, take it to a dyno, having them spend a day doing it means that it's like when you go to a dyno, it's not as simple as you just rock up and you do a couple of runs, unless you've got a mate that runs a dyno or you're sponsored, which, let's be honest, I'm not. You've got to work it out yourself, which means you've got to make tiny little changes. Anyway, right, look, it's very straightforward. You just need a lot of patience and a lot of time, hence where I've been for so bloody long. Tune ECU, Power Commander, and Auto Tune. In short, I'm just going to try and iron this out. I'll put up images and stuff while I talk through it, just so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, from the top. The bike has the engine configuration of the Evo 2 setup. So that's the rally cam and more air and straight through exhaust, essentially. I'll cut out all the nonsense. The map that I got from DynoJet, which at points had like 40% extra fuel on it. No, didn't use that in the end. That turned out to be a dreadful map to start off with as the base map. So what I've actually gone with is I took the Evo 2 map for the 654 engine, 2008, and I added 15% across the board, or across the range, that is theoretically affected by the acceleration, deceleration kind of thing. And that is this range here. Hopefully you got a picture of it. And then I added 8% to everywhere else. So theoretically that gives me what engine braking could be wrong. Again, this is not how to, this is just what I've done. So 15% across the acceleration range kind of thing and deceleration range, 8% everywhere else. Then you take it for a ride, asking Auto Tune to try and get everything to be roughly 13.2 air fuel ratio. That then gives you loads of readings. I initially set my auto tune to be able to adjust by 20%, but that meant that it was just all over the place when I was riding. So I set it to maximum of 5% changes up or down. That meant that I could ride it quite comfortably. Basically what you do is you go for a ride, you accelerate nice and steadily. I chose fourth gear, mostly fourth gear runs, so like just accelerating nice and steadily. And then when you get up to speed, you don't close the throttle before you pull the clutch in. It's all about putting the clutch in because you don't want that back pressure to suck air back into the exhaust and affect the air fuel ratio. Then you get really wild numbers on your graph. Then you basically come home, or if you can be bothered, you pull over, plug your laptop in, turn off auto tune so it doesn't mess with all the readings you've just taken. So you're just pretending that you're on a dyno kind of thing. Then you come back home, you take all that table that you've got from auto tune, right, and you've got loads of percentages up and down. Then you put those into the trim for your bike in Tune ECU, and then you create a map by adding that trim to your fuel and your load tables, and then you put that map back on your bike, and then you go out and you do it all again and you keep doing it. And I'm now on, since deciding to switch to the 15% 8% version of the map, which has been so much easier to work with than trying to work with the DynoJet one that they sent me, I'm now on like the 40th version. So that's 40 rides just going out, getting a bit out of town, finding a nice big open road, and then opening it up. I did film it one day and I spent ages filming, and then I realised that I had no space left on my camera, so I filmed nothing. I also made another hideous discovery. It's not the end of the world, but it's not good. So yeah, you are going to hear the bike today, but I've got to show you something first. See if you can see. I did spot it when I put the bike together, but I just assumed because I had never put on Supermoto Wheels that it was just not a big deal. This wheel has been rebuilt. That's now very clear to me. It's got nice new nipples on it. It's got HD spokes. The central hub is coated. One thing has become incredibly apparent. I first noticed it when I noticed that this neoprene thingy here had been chewed up and taken off. Basically, I was taking it out of the garden the other day. I have done like 400 miles now, and I was looking at the tyre as I was getting it out, and I was like, I don't know if you can see that. It's got quite the old patch there. a little bit of rubbing. It goes all the way around. And I noticed as I was riding down some steps, I could hear it squeaking at a certain amount of braking whilst going down the steps. That doesn't sound like brake disc squeaking. That sounds like rubber on metal squeaking. And then I noticed it. I got it down the steps. You can really see it here, actually. And I kind of noticed it when I was cutting these fork guards. The offset on this wheel is about, I don't know, maybe 5mm that way. So when this wheel was rebuilt, they've aligned it wrong. It came off of an SMC, so it should be aligned in the middle, but it's ever so slightly off that way. So basically, in here, as it goes past this bit here, the seal, bottom of the fork tube, it's rubbing, which means I'm gonna have to retension the wheel. I've never done the offset of a wheel before, and I've got no intention of doing it today. So I want to make a video about the bike actually running. As fun as it has been riding out on the roads and doing all the mapping stuff, all I keep thinking is I want to get back out on the trails. So yesterday I shored up all the wiring, made sure everything was cable tied down. My ultimate plan was to not take it off-road until the power commander and auto tune had been completely removed, and I'm just running it off of its flashed ECU. But you know what? I do have wheels that I know fit, and I've got decent tyres on them and do not rub, so I'm going to fit those, and then let's get out on the trails. Then you can have a proper look at it as well. I can show you. Plus, I've not fitted the bash plate yet, I've not fitted the heel guards. Let's get all those things on, get the tyre switched over, get it out. God, I'd forgotten how ridiculously tall it is with the Enduro wheels on. Oh my God, it's so tall. Oh. Totally forgotten how tall it is. Balance is not what it used to be. Theoretically, that's all there is to it. If you want to put on Supermoto wheels, it's just the other way around. Just remember to take your spacers from your Enduro wheels and put them in your SMC wheels, because your SMC wheels have got bigger spacers on the front. Back's the same. Right, now, that's not all there is to it. For love nor money, I couldn't find an answer to this, so I had to figure it out for myself. Like, let me show you. So the Enduro obviously has bigger wheels than the SMCs. If you switch from one to the other, either way you go, you've got to change your wheel size settings. Otherwise, your Speedo is going to be all over the place. Now, I know there's loads of forums that tell you how to do this for an Enduro or an SMC, but I tell you what they don't tell you. This particular model, the 2009 through to 2011 Enduro R, not the SMC, has this smaller speedometer. Right? I've given, I know. Problem with the smaller speedometer is that all the ways that you edit the wheel size settings, all that stuff, is not the same. So it took me ages to figure it out. But I did eventually figure it out, because I did start all my testing when I was map tuning with the wrong wheel size. And it was obviously, it thought it had Enduro wheels, so it was climbing through the miles really quick. So I had to stop and figure it out. Now, let me show you. To get behind your headlight, on an actual 09 to 11 Enduro R, you have the extremely comedy rubbish headlight. It looks like this. Hold on. I just had a look. I think I threw it away. It's so rubbish. This is the headlight from an SMC model. Most years, pretty much all years, up to 2015, it's the same gubbins or whatever. Right, I've undone my bolts. Pull that away. There's the wires that come out from the bottom of this. The ones that are 3 wires, leave those alone. It's the big one that you pull out. So disconnect that one. So you see it's currently set for 1882. You put it on trip 2, turn it off, turn it back on again. It should still be in trip 2. And then hold down both buttons. And then release them after 10 seconds, I think it is. And then you can go up or down. I'm going to go up. It goes quickly. I think it's 2250. I think. And then press them again. Go back to regular. Turn it off. You're done. Plug your wire back in. Put it all back together, and you're set for Enduro wheels. Do it the other way around if you want to go down to Supermoto wheels. So I've pumped up my tyres with my portable air compressor thing. I'll chuck that in the panniers with some tubes, levers and ting. And there's one thing left to do, bash plate. But not this one. This one is for the other 690 project that I'm working on. It's still boxed. It arrived getting on for a year and a bit ago now. Still haven't unwrapped it just because I know for me it's the last thing that means that the bike is ready to go, and that is the new bash plate. It's quite full on. Look how orange it is. Maybe I should have kept it black. I sent it off to be Cerakoted. I requested it to be in orange and they did it in black, so I sent it back. And the only thing I checked was that it was actually orange. I didn't actually get it out and look at it. Whew. So it is the adventure spec one, but sorry adventure spec, but your powder coating is dog-ish. So I had to have it stripped, and I like the coatings to last. Like within like 3 months of owning it, like it had all flaked off, it was horrible. So I figured Cerakote would probably be a better option. Okay, what have we got? It's pretty straightforward. I ordered a new mounting kit because the old one is a bit knackered. Actually had to make a new one of these after about 6 months of the old one. Okay, what have we got? Should have 4 Diddy ones. They're the mounting ones, which I'm not going to use. Bit of thread lock. Let's do it. Just like the last ones, they're made out of rubbish metal though. Even at 10 Newton meters, they are tight, but they're not even self-locking. They're not even nylocks. Rubbish. Nylock nuts. Right, so I have here actually treated myself. I imagine other people that have got this bash plate from Adventure Spec found the same thing as me, that basically the bolts that they give you, as I just demonstrated, are made of cheese, and no matter how hard you try, the bolts that go through here, the mounting point, over time they just shear off. And the bolts that they send you are threaded at the point where they're hanging, so already the threads are the weak point. Once the threads have kind of worked their way down, there's not much central shaft left. So it's the one time that I don't know, I'm from the age of Robocop where I'm led to believe that anything made of titanium is stronger. So I've got titanium bolts that specifically at the point that they rest on is the thickest bit. Ooh, and also, unless you like the sound of your engine sounded like it's about to explode for no apparent reason, a bit of foam. Now on this side, it's a bit tricky. You know what? I'm going to take my gloves off. It's that tricky. A nut is required because the hole is ever so slightly, well, it's not ever so slightly, there's no thread left on the inside anymore. So in order for any screws or any bolts to hold, I need a nut. This is always a massive pain in the arse. I'm definitely going to need my little magnet. So only the comically small KTM number 10 actually fits. Woo, I like it, although what is very, very bright orange will soon be very, very brown. You ready? Got your headphones in. It's not that it's super loud, it's not what you expect. It's the airbox. It's so bassy that when you accelerate, it makes your chest hurt a little bit. It's incredible. Anyway, I'll shut up. This is the way it sounds like. It's got the baffle in because I like my eardrums with the level of tinnitus that they've already got. So, shut up. So this is the sawn off Grapovich. All primed, ready to go. sounds like a rally bike. But it's not offensive. It's quite a nice sound. It's quite addictive. Apart from the first 3 times I opened the throttle and just like trying to keep the front wheel on the ground. So far I have not gone over 80% throttle because it's just been a bit. Anyway, I think it's time to hit the trail. If I ride out there now, this video will be too long. So I guess I can finally say the next video, unless something catastrophic happens, will be like and subscribe. No?